It's telling me my mic is muted like I didn't know. Hi, guys. How are you? Welcome to the show. This is Monkey in the Morning. I'm Monk. Hope you're well. Hope you're having a great Monday. Is this Monday? Tuesday? I have no idea what day it is. Hope you're having a great day. Lots to talk about tonight. And unlike a lot of times I say that, that's actually true. There's been some big news stuff. And just to hit the highlights, Daniel Penny got acquitted today, and they're pretty sure they caught the guy who shot the CEO of United Health. Big goings on, and we'll get to all of it in time. But hi, Nuts, how you doing? But first, I got to talk about Taylor Lorenz because, oh dear God, we haven't talked about Taylor around here in a while because, well, she's a moronic liar and we've given her more than enough attention over the years, but she decided today to prove to the world just how fucking horrible she is as a person. And we're gonna go through it. Now, I need to be very careful here because I want to be clear. If you read the title and saw the thumbnail, you'll see a few descriptive words I use for Miss Lorenz. And I want to clarify that I don't know that she's a clown. I don't know that she's ever clowned in her life, if she's ever been to clown college. I'm using the term clown metaphorically. Everything else I stand by. She is a fucking psycho. She is a liar, and she's a murder lover. I stand by all of that in its most literal form. She's a horrible, horrible person. And I just wanted to clarify that before we go on. So with the shooting of I really should learn that guy's name, the United Healthcare CEO, she was out there on social media celebrating it. Thank you so much, Wolf. Sup, Monk? Long time no super chat. Well, thank you. And how you been? Hope you're well. Remember to use caps if you're talking to Monkey. Thank you, Nuts. Yes, guys, I'm still having a lot of trouble seeing. Monk getting sued. Oh, I would love if she sued me. Do you know how big this show would get if she sued me over this shit? But she can't sue me because everything I'm going to say is true. You can't sue somebody for libel or slander if what they say or write is true. And what I wrote is 100% true. So she goes on to Piers Morgan to discuss her celebrations of this man being murdered. And we're going to watch most of the Piers Morgan thing, but we're going to watch it in reverse order. So very early on, she says something that kind of pisses Piers off. And it becomes a pretty big topic of the next, how long is this segment? The next 15 minutes. But near the end of the show, with maybe 5 minutes left in it, actually it's only 2 minutes left in it, Piers replays what she says. And this is how this is where we're going to show that this woman is a goddamn liar. So on the show with them is Tommy Lahren and, oh fuck, who's the other guy? I want to say Eric Dyson, but it's not that. Mark Lamont Hill, that race baiting piece of shit. I don't really care about Tommy Lahren or Mark Lamont Hill. Because, well, why would I? But this is the start of Piers confronting Lorenz with what she said. Okay.
Now, Taylor, I just want to wait because you've obviously you're unhappy with my mischaracterization of what you said and inferring.
I don't like how Piers said that because he says you're upset with my mischaracter. He does not mischaracterize her. What he said, he should have said what you think is a mischaracterization, but the way he states it there, it's that he did mischaracterize her. He didn't. But anyway,
that you were feeling joyful about what had happened to this guy. So we've got the clip and we'll just play it back just to remind you.
Mm-hmm. I do believe in the sanctity of life. And I think that's why I felt, along with so many other Americans, joy, unfortunately, because it feels like...
Serious?
I mean...
Joy in a man's execution?
Maybe not joy, but certainly not... No, certainly not... This is literally...
Okay, we'll get back to the when she originally says that, but that's what she said. I, along with so many others, felt joy at a man being murdered. Unfortunately, felt joy. Yeah, exactly, BV. Unfortunately, felt joy. Now, she has an explanation, you see. She wasn't talking about him being murdered. No, 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 no.
So you felt joy. You
I'm
felt
so
joy.
glad that you played that clip, because you'll see that I didn't
And then
say
she
that
said
I felt
she
joy in the
misspoke
man's
and
death.
clarified.
Oh.
And I didn't say
She didn't say she misspoke and clarified. She said maybe that's not the right word, which I guess you might be able to say misspoke, but this is something she's had time to think about because of all the pushback she's been getting on social media. So this isn't like it was off the cuff. She didn't know a question like this was coming. She didn't realize that's what she was here to talk about. He even opens the show talking about her and this and how they'll get to it after they talk about the Daniel Penny stuff, which is what the beginning of the show was about. So that maybe joy isn't the right word. One, that's not misspeaking. That's being bad at vocabulary, I suppose, would be the best part there. But she doesn't then clarify it. She never uses another word. She doesn't say joy is the wrong word. What I meant to say was happiness, or what I meant to say was anything else. But anyway.
You don't think, Mark, it was more that she wished she hadn't said she felt joy because she suddenly realized how bad it
why
sounded?
don't you listen to that clip again? Because I don't say that I felt joy in the man's death. I said
All right, keep this part in mind. We'll back that up. I didn't say that I felt joy in the man's death. Thank you, Chicago Mike. Hi, I'm Taylor, and I'm a professional victim. True. Most people found out about Taylor Lorenz when she went on MSNBC and cried about online bullying. This is a woman who went onto MSNBC and cried, fake cried, by the way, fake cried about how mean people were to her online. And it was only like a month or two later that she goes out there and she doxes libs of TikTok and shows up at her like aunt's house. And now she's here celebrating murder. Snubber, thank you. Even when a PDF file gets a lead injection, I'm not joyful. Being joyful is a specific feeling. Hey, she just didn't know what word she meant to say there, Snub. She's just a journalist. She's not real good with words. Thank you for the donation, my friend. But anyway.
Why don't you listen to that clip again? Because I don't say that I feel joy in the man's death. I said I feel joy because, and that's exactly when you cut me off. And if you let me finish, I would say I feel joy.
Bullshit.
Oh, bullshit, Piers. You don't know what was in my head.
That's not. She's right. She's right, Piers.
Bullshit.
She actually.
Oh, okay. We're going to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that she's lying here, okay? And I just want you to pay attention to Mark Lamont Hill over there running defense, white knighting for his retard over here, the 90-year-old lady who's celebrating murder. But you cut me off. I was going to say because, and okay, what were you going to say because?
She said, I feel joy, and then you interrupted her there. Perhaps, I don't know what she was going to say, but she certainly didn't get a chance to finish.
Well, the viewers can
we actually do get many clues about this. Is why we're doing it in reverse, so we can see what the defense is first, and then we can watch it and have it in our minds, and we're going to come to an agreement, you and me, before we jump back in time over what she's saying right now.
Watch the whole thing in the right context.
And you may not realize this, but
we don't sense the things here. Mark, I don't know why you're going out of your way to defend her, mate. Because Taylor, let's be honest, you know what you said. You wish you hadn't said it. Let me give Taylor an opportunity. Would you like to apologize for using the word joy?
Again, if you take the word joy completely out of context from the word that I said,
would you like to?
It was because
would you like to apologize?
Was it taken out of context, or did you use the wrong word? Because those are entirely different things. See what I mean? She's a fucking she's lying here. She said in that clip that we got to see that she misspoke, and now you're taking the word out of context. Can't be both, sweetie.
Yes or no? Yes or no?
You just played the clip that showed that I said I feel joy because, and that's right when you cut me off. So let me tell you why I feel joy. I feel joy because people like you who are rich and powerful and on TV and have all the access to all the healthcare privileges in the world are finally being forced to pay attention to the barbaric healthcare system that murders tens of thousands of innocent Americans. And that is what I feel joy in, that people.
Okay. She just laid out what she meant when she said joy. Remember, she used the wrong word. So she used the wrong word, but she did feel joy. I'm not sure how that works, honestly, but she feels joy because rich guys like him now have to pay attention to how horrible the healthcare system is in America. Are we all in agreement that that's what she said? That her excuse here is that she feels joy that people are paying attention to the healthcare problem. Are we? Everybody got that? Anybody disagree with my characterization there? I mean, we just heard it from her own mouth, but this is a woman who literally said she misspoke and then tried using that same wording to justify what she said. If anybody thinks I'm wrong in my assessment of, quoting the bitch, please speak now. But the show's wrapping up, so.
People like you are forced to confront those systemic problems. That's what I'm joyful.
Yeah, I knew it would be my fault as well at some stage. Right, well, thanks.
Sometimes I love Piers. I don't watch him very much anymore because of shit like this. He's basically become twitchy. Do you guys know what twitchy is? It's something that he has influencers on. That's who he has on now. He has Destiny and Hassan and Taylor Lorenz and Pearl Davis. And if you're an influencer, he'll have you on to make an ass of yourself. And he always gets the dumbest ones because, well, they have the biggest audiences. I don't know why. But I don't watch him much, but I do enjoy Piers Morgan. He gets stuff wrong. I still disagree with him on his gun control stance, which he's softened over the years. It's not like it was when he had his argument with Ben Shapiro, but he's still British and we have different values. So don't always agree with him, but I like him, and I like when he gets snarky like that. I knew you were going to make it my fault. All right, so there it is. Her reason for misusing a word, maybe that's the wrong word, but she totally meant that word because what she was saying was she was joyful that people, rich motherfuckers like you, Pierce, you have to pay attention to systemic problems in American healthcare. He's a Brit, so he really doesn't have to, but let's just run with that. And let's run it all back. Let's run it all back. When are you going on Piers Morgan? I never, if I was invited, I'd go on, but I'm way too small for him to give a shit about me. We're going to watch it from the beginning. This is the top of the segment where they're talking about this.
Let's move to the other story because Taylor's been waiting patiently here. So this issue of...
Okay, and I just want to point out again, this is 18 minutes and 50 seconds into just this broadcast. And even he points out Taylor's been waiting for her turn because they were talking about the Daniel Penny case. She really didn't have anything to say about that. She was brought on specifically for the stuff about the United Healthcare CEO and the stuff that she said about it. So at the very least, she's had almost 20 minutes to think of what word to use, and she goes with joyful.
Brian Thompson, one of the top healthcare executives in the country. I'm just curious why your first reaction would be to his cold-blooded execution. And people wonder why we want these executives dead. And then you later commented...
That is what she I don't think it was Twitter. Maybe it was Blue Sky. I'm not sure which space she was on, what social media app. But that's what... and people wonder why we want these guys dead. In response to him being murdered. And that was specifically in response to Allied Healthcare saying that they were going to limit the coverage of anesthesia during surgery. So like if you had a surgery scheduled for 3 hours and it takes 5, they were only going to cover like 3 hours worth of anesthesia for you, which is kind of fucked up. And they went back on it, but her response was, and they wonder why we want them dead. Why we want them dead. Murder lover. Is Monk still blind? Yes.
People giving you a lot of blowback. I'm not alone, you said. Healthcare executive down with party balloons was on a next post that you commented on.
Yeah, she's commenting, healthcare CEO down with party balloons, and she's like, yay. Thank you so much, Frank. Monk face reveal when invited on Piers. I'm pretty sure I'd have to, right?
Why would you be in such a celebratory mood?
Because she is a horrible, disgusting bitch of a woman. But let's let her say it.
About the execution of another human being. Aren't you supposed to be on the caring, sharing left where, you believe in the sanctity of life?
I do believe in the sanctity of life. And I think that's why I felt, along with so many other Americans, joy, unfortunately, because it feels like...
Serious?
I mean...
Joy in a man's execution?
Maybe not joy, but certainly not empathy.
All right. Here's how we know she was lying earlier. She says she wasn't talking about his murder when she said joyful. And she said what she was joyful about was people like Piers having to deal with the healthcare problems in the U.S. How would empathy be a problem there? You felt you feel no empathy towards Piers having to discuss the healthcare in the United States? That doesn't make any sense. You were clearly talking about the murder itself. You felt no empathy for him being murdered. Hey, I'm glad you showed that because it shows you interrupted me, which he did. And you tried to clarify some. And the best you could come up with was not empathy. I'm not empathetic that you have to face the systemic problems with healthcare. Really? All right. Well, maybe that could make a little sense. Let's see if there's any more clues.
Because again,
we're watching the footage. How can this make you joyful? This guy's a husband. He's a father. And he's been gunned down in the middle of Manhattan. Why does that make you joyful?
Now, he stepped on her a couple of times, so let's run it back a little bit.
Maybe not joy, but certainly not empathy. Because again,
we're watching the footage. How can this make you joyful?
Did you hear what she said right there? She says, certainly not empathy, because this is a man who is responsible. And she finishes that sentence here in a few minutes, or in a few seconds, I guess. It depends on how long I talk between pauses. But I don't feel empathetic because this is a man who's, she's going to say, murdered a lot of people, because that's the thing people are using to justify them celebrating murder, is like, he murdered a bunch of people. He didn't murder anybody, okay? He just did not murder anybody. That is a fucking retarded way to say that. This is a man who sold medical insurance and followed the federal and state guidelines for insurance. If you have a problem with what this guy did or any of the things that they turned down, your problem's not with him. It's with your state and federal leaders, fuckers. Your problem should be with Obamacare, because that is where the medical insurance issue was all settled, right? Understatement, thank you. You can tell she's either dumb or privileged if she's blaming one guy for a decade-old system. Also, get ready for the free Luigi campaigns. Okay, thank you. Sorry, for some reason, Luigi, I just was having trouble with that first I there. I was like, free luge? What? We'll get to Luigi. What's his name? Montagioni? Yeah, something like that. Mangione? Anyway.
This guy's a husband. He's a father. And he's been gunned down in the middle of Manhattan. Why does that make you joyful?
Of Americans that he murdered. So are the tens of thousands of Americans, innocent Americans, who died because greedy health insurance executives like this one push policies of denying care to the most.
Okay, she's had time to explain here. If you heard her say anything about Piers having to confront the United States health system, Because apparently Mark Lamont Hill heard different shit, and Taylor Lorenz, who was saying this crap, heard different shit. Anybody catch that from her? No, instead, what she's doing is giving a defense of why it's okay to kill this man. No, that's not what I said. It is not. I was gonna say that I'm glad that it made people talk about healthcare. Okay? That's what I was saying when I said I was joyful that the man died because he murdered a bunch of people. I don't know how you misconstrued that. She's just a liar. She's just a goddamn liar.
Vulnerable people. And the many millions of Americans that have...
For the record, that blip there was them, not me.
Watched people that I care about suffer and in some cases die because of lack of health care.
So should they all be killed?
Who? She goes anywhere from a few thousand to millions of people have been murdered by United Healthcare because they've been turned down for coverage. And look, people get turned down for coverage of stuff all the time. But the idea that it's a systemic problem that's killing hundreds of thousands of people or even millions of people is just bullshit. It's just bullshit.
Then should they all be killed, these healthcare executives? Would that make you even more joyful?
No, that would not.
Well, why not?
And,
why are you laughing?
I think because it wouldn't.
Because yeah, of course. She's laughing. And look, you could laugh at the absurdity of his question if that's what you're going to say. But she's laughing. Look at the joy in her face when she's laughing about it. She's not upset at the notion that she'd be okay with murder. She thinks it's funny.
You seem to find the whole thing hilarious.
I find your question funny.
A bloke's been murdered in the street. I don't find it funny at all.
Seriously, a man was murdered, and you're saying these guys are murdering a lot of people to justify that murder. What is funny about him asking you if all of them should be murdered? Seriously, there was nothing funny about his question. I'm laughing at your question. You mean the one that follows the logical conclusion of what you've been saying?
I don't find it funny that...
Sorry, there was a donation I heard come through, and then I got distracted by my own voice because I'm that conceited. Over on the Streamlabs, thank you so very much. Frosted, who said, I'm sick of your blatantly mischaracterization of Taylor's argument monkey. I DM'd you a picture that will clear her name. If you have the courage, fuck my eyes, guys. This is even in cap lock. If you have the courage to read it to the rest of the chat. Let me see if how well I can even see it to try to read it, my friend. I can't fucking read that. Go kiss my ass, you little butthead. It's an eye chart, which I'm assuming has something written on it, but I can't read the fucking thing. Anyway, you're an asshole, and I love you for it.
Tens of thousands of Americans die every year, and because they are denied life-saving healthcare from people like the CEO. Now, I want to fix the system. You're right. We shouldn't be going around shooting each other with vigilante justice. No.
Should you be celebrating people going around killing people with vigilante justice? Because that's what you've done. You even no wonder we want to kill these people. You even wrote it that you wanted to kill these people, but Piers asking you that? Piers asking you about wanting them dead? You're like, nah, bro, how could you? That's absurd that you'd even suggest that. Why do you look at my words?
No. I think that it is a good thing that this murder has led to America, or really the media elites and politicians in this country paying attention to this issue for the first time.
Okay. What the fuck are you talking about? Politicians paying attention to it for the first time? I realize that you're like 900 years old and your memory's probably going, Taylor, but this has been a big topic of conversation for the last 30 years. This shit, Obama got elected and then forced through Obamacare in 2010, you fucking retard. That's more than a decade ago. They're finally talking about this. 2010. For the first time. Yeah, that's what she said. For the first time. Politics. And notice she didn't say she was joyful that these people are talking about it. She thinks it's a good thing that they are. Not joyful. She doesn't say I'm joyful for that. She slowly morphs into that as we go forward a little bit further. Because Piers is right. She realized what she said when he called him out on it, or when he called her out on it. It's like, you backtrack because you realized what you said and you're trying to save face. And she's like, no. When I said that I was unempathetic about because he killed a bunch of people, I was saying that I'm glad you're talking about healthcare coverage, which I would just like to bring up hasn't actually been discussed in this. At this point, they haven't talked about that. They've talked about her being joyful that he was murdered. Thank you, the Dark Conservatarian. Thanks for the feedback on my video response, Monk. What was your reaction about Abba and Preach defending cuties, though? I didn't hear your thoughts on that. I think Abba and Preach made a big mistake in their interpretation of it. And they were trying way too hard to be the voices of reason. And because they tried to defend it, for those of you who don't know, based on another movie where there's a scene where it's implied that a kid gives a BJ to a guy. And they're like, see, that's sexualized. They don't actually show the kid giving a BJ because he doesn't. They let you know that that's what's going to happen in the story without, needing to show it. And they completely skip over that the girls and cuties were children that were sexualized, that they were actually the ones dancing. I think they just tried way too hard to be reasonable, which I think is a problem for a lot of people. Shio, thank you. A Polish man goes to the optometrist. The doctor asks if he can read the board. CZWJNYSACZ. The Polish man replies, read it. I know the cunt. Nice. That's actually a really good joke. Anyway, so back to Taylor and her. I totally wasn't joyful about his murder.
Mentioned you couldn't understand why somebody would feel this reaction when they watched a CEO die. It's because you have not dealt.
Wait.
It sounds like
wait. Let's go back. Wait a second.
The media elites and politicians in this country paying attention to this issue for the first.
Okay, they're paying attention to it for the first time, but listen to this part.
Time. You mentioned you couldn't understand why somebody would feel this reaction when they watched a CEO die. It's because you have not dealt, it sounds like, with the.
What reaction to somebody dying? You said you couldn't understand this reaction to somebody dying. What reaction, Taylor?
Time. You mentioned you couldn't understand why somebody would feel this reaction when they watched a CEO die.
Feel what reaction, Taylor? The reaction that Piers Morgan was finally going to have to pay attention to it? No, that doesn't make any sense. That's not a feeling. What feeling did you feel when you saw that man die, Taylor? Could it be joy? Because that's the word you fucking used. For fuck's sake. She's a bad liar. That's the worst part of it, is she's just a bad liar. And old Lamont Hill down there, we couldn't know what she was really talking about because you cut her off. Apparently that's where he stopped paying attention to the conversation. It's where a lot of people stop paying attention to the conversation, because she makes it abundantly clear that what she was talking about when she said joyful was that man's murder. She just did it again accidentally when she's trying to explain it away. You didn't understand why people would feel that feeling. What feeling? Come on now. You can say it. We all know.
It's because you have not dealt, it sounds like, with the American healthcare system in the way that millions of other Americans have.
He goes on to say he has, but he also has to deal with the NIH, and that's the government who turns people down for shit that they need. You realize that happens, right, Taylor? I had a friend once in Canada because people love the Canadian system. Just recently, Bernie Sanders says Trump wants to make Canada the 51st state. Does that mean we can have their healthcare system? I had a friend in Canada who they thought had a brain tumor. You know how long it took them to get into a CAT scan? 6 months. They thought she had a brain tumor that was causing her to pass out. And before they could get it, she was on a 6-month waiting list for a fucking CAT scan. Don't worry, guys. We get on that government healthcare. Nobody will ever die again. Death is going to end because of government healthcare. Thank you, Eric. Oh, my goodness. Muslims and other Middle East groups have deleted millions of people. Should we not empathy or them? The healthcare deletes people argument is such a brain-dead, childlike view of the issue. Yeah, and especially when you're talking about this, because I saw somebody say he's profiting off of death. No, he wasn't. He was profiting off of a very heavily regulated industry that sells policies for insurance to people. But he's also profiting off of life, if that's what you want to go with, because I don't know if you guys noticed, but there's 330 plus million Americans, and tons of people go into the hospital and come out healthier than they went in. I'm not a big fan of healthcare systems, and how dare you make me defend them? But most people don't die. If they did, we'd have a problem. Understatement. Thank you, Monk. Leave him alone. His back made him do it. Don't get me started on that shit. So Jack sends me a story, little fucker. He sends me, it's not a story, it's a tweet of somebody who says, before we have any discussions about if any discussions about Luigi Mangione have to start with his back pain. And it goes on to suggest that he had some back pain and that made it so he couldn't live the life that he used to live. And that needs to be taken into consideration. No, fuck you. Fuck you. I'm the last person that wants to hear that shit. Eat my entire ass. Anyway, back to Miss. I totally didn't say what I said.
Dealt with the healthcare system in various ways in America. I don't think it's perfect by any means, but the idea that I would view it as something.
Have you been denied life-saving treatment?
The idea that I would view it.
Have you been denied life-saving treatment? Remember, this is the chick who wore a mask at all times because it's inappropriate and just mean and rude, and you're trying to kill me if you don't have a mask on, except for when she went to a feminist party and there were like 12 women there and she took her mask off for that so you could make sure you see her face in the photos. Suddenly, her scare of COVID, because she has the long COVID, don't you know? That went away because there was a photo shoot. I'm not making that up. You can look it up. She even put the mask back on afterwards and whined about people who don't wear masks after she did that. But yeah, oh God, she's such a horrible liar. COVID was the best thing to happen to people like her. Because now she can claim chronic illness. She doesn't have to pretend she has lupus or what's the other one? Fibro. I have the long COVID. Some other bullshit that they can't prove, and they can just be like, I have long COVID, so I can't go to the store today.
As something joyful that a man who's just a healthcare executive, has been executed in the street, I find completely bizarre. Let me bring in Tommy here. Yeah. Tommy.
Yeah. But you were just explaining how people felt about seeing him gunned down and joyfulness of it, or at the very least a lack of empathy over it. Now Tommy's going to come on and say some shit I don't really care about. Thank you, Snubbert. Luigi was literally a fitness pro who escaped on a bicycle back my ass. Hey, he had chronic back pain.
I keep being told. Hang on, Taylor. I'll come back to you.
Okay,
Tommy,
don't say I'm joyful. I said
you said you were feeling joyful.
Yeah, I take that back. Joyful is the wrong word, Piers.
You think?
But I said, as I clarified, yeah.
You think joyful is the wrong word? Yeah.
Sure.
I'd say it
is. Vindicated, celebratory, because again, it feels like
not joyful, celebratory. Not joyful. No. How dare you misconstrue what I said? Which, by the way, it wasn't a misconstruing of what you said. You said you were joyful, and your clarification is celebratory. This is a journalist, you guys. She worked for the New York Times and the Washington Post. She didn't work for, Podunk Journal and Gazette. She worked for the fucking Washington Post and New York Times. And she thinks there's a big difference between joyful and celebratory. How dare you say that I was joyful? I was just celebratory. Oh, God damn it. Thank you, Mighty Balzac. A Canadian locked his keys in his car. Took him 2 hours to get his wife and kids out. When I was a kid, that was a joke about Polish people. Thank you, Timothy Seelbeck. Okay. I'm thinking that's supposed to be holy shit, but you're not allowed to say that in Super Chat. Holy shit, Monk. Monk, you're early this morning. This is when I prefer to do the show. It just doesn't often go that way because of my back and body. And I thought about taking a nap around 7, and I was like, nope, I want to get a show done and get to bed at a normal time because I'm almost back on a normal schedule, you guys. I've been sleeping pretty decent lately and getting 6 to 7 hours every night. And if I can do that, I'm going to do that. And if I can stay on a kind of normalized schedule, hell, maybe we could actually get this show back on a schedule, which would be awesome. Shio, thank you. Government healthcare is the best system. They've never used TRICARE or the VA. I've told this story about my mom dying. That was back during the Champus days. It was the military's health insurance. My mom had gone to the hospital, to the doctor for over a year, complaining about being short of breath and having fatigue and just not feeling right. And she had these 2 sores on the corner of her mouth, one on each side. And every time she went in, they told her, you're overweight and a smoker. That's your problem. You're overweight and you're a smoker. And then on May 12th of 1989, she passed out in the backyard while she was hanging clothes, and an ambulance was called and they took her to a civilian hospital. Civilian hospital couldn't find anything wrong, but the doctor was checking her out and said, those sores on the corner of your mouth, there's a chance. I'm going to run one more test and we're going to check it out. And the test they ran was for leukemia. And the result came back with the term that they gave me as a child was acute leukemia. I had no idea what it was. And my mom was dead within 3 months. And her military medical chart does not contain any of the appointments she went to before that. Not a single one. Not a single appointment, her going in and complaining about being short of breath and tired all the time and the sores on the corner of her mouth. That's your government healthcare, guys. Also over on the Streamlabs, thank you so much. Toasted. Why should the CEO have to give coverage to everyone? It's his company and his money shouldn't have to his money shouldn't he have a choice how to use it? Also, why are we picking on healthcare companies? How about hospitals with their insane prices or doctors who deny as many people? Well, because healthcare companies are the easy ones to go after. That's all it is. And they've been beating this drum for a while. They're trying to get us on look, the entire purpose of Obamacare was to get us onto single-payer healthcare. It really was. Because that's what Obama wanted. We all know that's what Obama wanted. So they craft this bill that is just shit and puts all of it onto the insurance companies. Hey, you guys have to cover this. Gay men have to have maternity coverage. That is a real thing in Obamacare. Gay men have to carry insurance for maternity. And what they did is force a shit ton of expenses on the insurance companies. And the only way the insurance companies can deal with that is cutting what coverages they can and raising prices. And it gets everybody mad at the health insurance industry. Everybody pissed off at them. And then so what do the people do? We need government to take this over. Daddy, government, please save me from what you did to us. Yeah. Make no mistake about what happened here. Thank you, Kevisar Bold. I still think when Piers asked if they should unalive them all, she had a mini climax. You're probably not wrong. Also, I hate YouTube censorship. Took me forever to edit this. Here's what you can do. If you want to donate and get something read like that, you can typically say more in YouTube chat than you can in the super chats. Just say, hey, Monk, read my next one. And then I'll read the next one. That way you can get away with saying it how you want to say it. Hope that helps. You don't have to do it that way. If you want to try to figure out ways you can get around it. Thank you, Monk. You explained that very well. It's what happened. I mean, anybody who was paying attention saw this coming. You can go back to when I was on the Bill Maher boards. I don't know if those are even still around. I said that at the time when Obamacare is being passed. I'm like, they're doing this to force single payer on us because this is a shitty bill. This is a shitty bill that's going to harm people. And what happened? Insurance rates went up, deductibles went up, coverage went down. And now you have people killing CEOs in the street and a whole bunch of people going, yes, that's what should happen. All right. So what's the solution? What's the solution? Forcing these companies to cover more? Okay, somebody's got to pay for that, which means prices are going to have to go up. So what do we do then? Well, then the government has to pay for it. The whole thing is to get single payer healthcare. It really is. I promise you that is the motive behind Obamacare. Anyway, I how dare you classify what I said with my own fucking words? She's such a horrible bitch.
Justice in this system when somebody responsible for the deaths of tens of thousands of Americans suffers the same fate as those tens of thousands of Americans.
He didn't suffer the same fate as those tens of thousands of Americans. Hey, Taylor, you're a rich chick. How many tabs have you picked up for people's insurance or where insurance wouldn't pay? You're like, hey, I'll cover that. You got money, lady. Oh, no. The insurance companies have to do that. All right, fair enough. You have people, notice they never give you an example of this. Anytime they do give examples of people being turned down for healthcare, it's typically either something that wasn't life-threatening, or if it was life-threatening, it's something that it wasn't going to save them anyway. You know, like they denied chemo to grandma who was 99 years old and on her deathbed. And they were like, no, we're not covering that. And that's not to say they never make mistakes or they're not greedy little bastards. It's actually kind of hard to be greedy in the insurance industry. It really is. You guys have no idea how regulated this industry is. But the idea that tens of thousands of people are being shot in the street, that's the same fate, sweetie. He didn't get a chance to live his life and nature took its course and an insurance agent was like, no, we're not covering that. He was gunned down. He was executed. He had his whole life ahead of him. It's not like he was like what killed him was a lack of medical removal of bullets. He was murdered, you fucking whore. Thank you, Travis Gardner. Is this working? It seems to be. Thank you, Chicago Mike. I'm from the government and I'm here to help. Not what I want to hear anyone saying. True. It's the same thing that's happened with college. And this is something I called long ago too. When they started pushing college so much, I said at the time, and I wish I had proof of this, but I said at the time, this is just a way to force everybody into college and have the government paying for it. Because that's what it was. Now, the underlying reason for that is for indoctrination into their commie bullshit. But if you see the government pushing something, you can bet there is some, especially some kind of program like Medicare for all or college for all, that the entire point is to have the government take it over. That's what they want.
All right. He murdered or
Tommy, whether Taylor wants to retract the word joyful or not, we all heard her say it, and I was just shocked. I mean, I find that kind of response utterly shocking. That someone
did you just see Mark? I don't know if you're paying attention to the screen, but he just shook his head no. He's not even the one that's being discussed or being asked the question here. Taylor said we all heard, Piers said we all heard Taylor say what she said, and I was shocked. And Mark Lamont Hill down there shaking his head like, no, why would you be shocked at her saying she's joyful that a man was murdered? I hate these people. Seemed my Streamlabs are not going through. Well, that one did. Let me see if did I miss any? It could be I missed them, because if they come in together, sometimes I do miss them. Let me see. Oh, there was one right before that. Well, no, that's 6 minutes before that. Oh, it came in the same time as when I read from Toasted. I'm so sorry, bud. Thank you, Travis Gardner. Taylor gets a sexual thrill out of human suffering. Just look into those eyes. Yeah, look at it right there. She's even smiling at him, saying that he was disgusted by what she said. At the very least, you should be able to understand why he would be, even if you're like, no, I didn't mean to say it that way. You should be able to understand that that's how he took it and be like, yeah, I would be disgusted by that too. Toasted, thank you. Love how all of the leftists love to say my body, my choice, and says slavery when anyone wants just a little regulation on abortion. So shouldn't the same apply to campiness? Is that what that says? I mean, isn't controlling how people lose isn't controlling how people lose their many called slavery? They don't believe in my body, my choice. They believe my body, my choice only in abortion. But I'm glad you brought up abortion, because I am curious. There's a ton of people out there. Monkey doesn't need glasses. My eyes are just shot. There's no glasses. Don't help this. That's why I ask you guys, please, if you're going to type to me, do it in all caps, because it makes it easier to see. But imagine somebody who truly believes with all of their heart that murder is abortion, and they go out there and shoot a doctor. Do you think Taylor Lorenz would be up there going, I can understand why people, this is somebody who's responsible for multiple murders. You think that would be their take? Or would they be like, this is disgusting. How dare you shoot this man who's just doing his job? And we already know the answer to that, because it's happened in the past. Abortion doctors have been murdered. And yeah, there were some people on the right who were a little too okay with it. But most people were like, no, I do not believe in murdering people over this stuff. You don't cure murder by murder. But take her thing here, right? 1 million babies were aborted in 2023. Over 1 million babies were aborted in the United States. She's talking about a couple thousand people died because they were denied this stuff. 1 million babies killed. Is it okay for somebody to go out and start killing these doctors? Is it okay to kill the person who, for the record, no, it's not okay for any of this. But Miss Lorenz, is it okay for somebody to go out there and kill the head of Planned Parenthood because they're responsible for millions of deaths? Somehow I don't think that you care that much about life, sweetie. You're a communist propagandist, and this is communist propaganda. The damn healthcare people. They said let them eat cake.
Someone could be murdered in the middle of Manhattan, who happens to be an executive for a healthcare company, and people think this is something that makes them feel joyful.
Yeah, this is still the remnants of the incredibly bratty Occupy Wall Street movement that's morphed into.
I don't know why she's talking about Wall Street, Occupy Wall Street. You know what? I can't watch Tomi Lahren. I'm just gonna. we're gonna jump ahead, and I didn't get a timestamp for this, but I do want to find it here real fast because Piers brings up this clip. I think it was from CNN, and they're discussing this right about here. I didn't have to take that off the screen to do that. You guys could have watched me scroll through. I've made you watch much worse. Anyway,
it was inevitable that the finger of blame would eventually turn to one person. Let's take a look at this clip.
Don't you think this is a systemic problem that's coming from the top? Look what Trump tweets or whatever social, whatever it's called, false social.
It's called truth.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you know, there's the stuff that comes out of his mouth is exactly this kind of stuff, and
Trump has tweeted out that CEOs should be killed. Has Trump tweeted out that anybody should be murdered? I'm very curious. It's Trump's fault. One, Trump's not the top right now. He is the top in waiting. The top right now is Joseph R. Biden. Maybe you missed that. But yeah, it's Trump's fault, you see. It's Trump's fault. He talks about murdering people all the time. Except he doesn't. This is what they always have to do. It's got to be Trump's fault. And of course, that's MSNBC. Can't imagine why their fucking ratings are so shit. All right, but to the story, the murderer has been caught, or at least the suspected murderer. I guess we're supposed to say alleged, right? The alleged murderer, they just caught him, with the ID that was used at the hostel he stayed at, as well as many other fake IDs. His passport, a gun, a silencer, a 3-page manifesto. But he allegedly did it, allegedly. His name is Luigi Mangione, and way too many people are out there like, he's hot. He's the one that really got me was he's normal looking. So let's take a look at Luigi here, because I need to talk to y'all. If you think this guy looks normal, you need to let other people help you when it comes to deciding on who you should trust or not. This guy looks like he's going to rape your ferret, and you don't even have one yet. This guy looks like he's going to kill somebody. For the record, he's a rich kid from Maryland. He went to a high school that cost $40,000 a year. He graduated in 2016. You can even find his, he gave I don't remember if he was valedictorian, salutatorian, I don't remember, but he gave one of those speeches at his graduation. And $40,000 a year, all boys school. The left is having a little bit of a crisis right now because it's coming out that he might have been a fan of Elon and maybe even Tucker Carlson. And I saw Hassan Piker tweeted out, it doesn't really matter what this guy's politics are. What matters is that the healthcare system is an issue. Well, for the record, nobody knows why he killed that guy. All of the shit about it being a response to healthcare, the shit that like Taylor Lorenz was just talking, that's all made up. Nobody knows. There were 3 words on some of the shells, which don't prove anything. In fact, what we do know about the letter, which is in the hands of the Altoona Police Department right now, is that he was kind of talking about CEOs in general. And if that's the case, then it wasn't about healthcare. He just picked the healthcare industry as his first CEO target. Now, according to the New York Police Department, no other CEO is mentioned in the letter, but they don't have it, according to him. I watched the press conference that Mayor Adams had earlier today talking about this, and it doesn't necessarily seem like this was about just healthcare. Seems like it had more to do with just CEOs in general. But again, we just have another rich white kid who snaps, and everybody, they're like, he's so cute and he believes in single payer healthcare like I do. Nobody knows why this asshole did it yet. Anybody who's giving any reasons for it, it's all in your head. You're making it up to make yourself feel better about cheering on the death of a man. I am not going to sit here and tell you that there's people that I don't wish dead, but it's not some fucking CEO who has not wronged me in any way. It's not even a CEO who has wronged me in any way. I save that for pedophiles, murderers, despots. Not, oh, that guy runs a company. He needs to die because sometimes things suck. All of that shit is made up. Could it be true? Sure. Do we know it is? Nope. Nope. That is just people guessing. He could have done it because he knew that would get the most attention. Oh, no, can't have that. No, it was clearly because he hates the healthcare system in the United States. That is just you guys justifying your own fucked up reasons for wanting that man dead. And you guys should probably, not you guys necessarily, people who are like that, should probably reevaluate your lives because you're pretty disgusting people. And I guarantee you some of those are ones who are like, you should be nicer to pedophiles. And I know some of them are because they're Hassan fans. Anyway, the irony of him getting caught at McDonald's. Yeah, I see a lot of people like the snitch at McDonald's, because what happened was one of the employees at the McDonald's recognized him and called the local police. And they came to talk to him. They caught him with can you tell us more about who you want to die? No, FBI, but thank you so much for the donation. Thank you, FBI. People are calling this person a snitch. They're a snitch. The man murdered somebody. He's not fucking Robin Hood, okay? The guy is not a hero. He's a cold-blooded murderer. He's not fighting back against, railroads forcing him off his land in the Wild West. He's a fucking piece of shit rich kid murderer who has spent way too much time in college. I'm just going to throw that out there. He has some, let's call them anti-capitalist writings that have been found. Shocker, right? But the McDonald's worker who did this, good on you. You deserve a Medal of Freedom. And I just want to say that I'm going to have a McRib sometime this week in honor of that person. It won't get to them, but it'll help the company. And McDonald's is kind of on the upswing for me. They had the Trump moment, and now they have this shithead was caught because of them. And McDonald's is winning me over right now. Was it Trump? Wouldn't it have been great if it was? Like, I can't believe this person snitched on the murderer. I get it. Some of y'all are beating off to this guy, and I'm not sure why. Maybe you got touched when you were watching Sesame Street and Bert was on. I don't know why. But apparently some people are like, he's so dreamy. No, the dude looks psycho. The dude looks psycho. He looks like a giant douche. And he kind of looks like he stinks. We've talked about this before where you can see somebody like, oh, they stink. This dude looks like he smells like garbage. I'm just throwing that out there. And trust me, I have good taste in people. I was going to share with you guys a little fun, but the person deleted all the tweets. I ran into somebody today. I responded to Hassan Piker because that fucking little shitbag. And one of his little fans responded to me. No, sorry, it wasn't Hassan. It was one of the Krasensteins, and one of their fans responded to me and accused me of being a Russian asset. Because the Krasenstein's like, what needs to happen in Russia is what happened in Syria. The people need to rise up against the government. And I simply asked, are you suggesting terrorists take over Moscow? Because that seems like, with their nuclear weapons, that'd be a bad thing. And this person accused me of being a Russian bot. And I went over to their page and I was scrolling through it. And I just started laughing because I saw that they claimed that they've been gang stalked. Now, we've talked about gang stalking before, but for those of you who don't know, gang stalking, people who believe they're being gang stalked are mentally ill. These are, I said gang stalk, and look who showed up. What's up, my friend? Uh-oh. Jack?
How's it going?
There you are.
What?
I just...
How's it going?
First. Yeah. Not bad. How you doing, man?
Yeah, no usual.
Indeed. Yeah, I do. We were just talking about the gang stalking lady.
Fucking tards.
I think she was gang stalked, Jack, because she is a vegetarian who wanted some attention brought to some people who did bad things. I forget exactly what crazy bad things they supposedly did. But my favorite part of her lunacy, and I am not making this up. Do you remember the movie that Leonardo DiCaprio and Jennifer Lawrence did together about the comet coming to hit the Earth, called Don't Look Up?
Oh, yeah.
She said she's been told that movie was based on her. I'm like,
what?
Huh? Yeah.
How?
Yeah. Apparently the gang stalking's got so bad in the world that she lives in that they're going to send a comet to the Earth to kill her. I don't fucking know. The bitch is crazy.
Wait, is the comet specifically going to kill her or everyone?
Oh, everyone, but just to get at her, I'm guessing.
Uh-huh. That totally makes sense. Sure, why not? Let's run with that story.
Snubber, thank you. Leniency in sentencing is one thing. Absolving a crime of another, even if you murk a pedophile, you should get a charge. Yeah, look, I'm not saying I disagree with every act of vigilantism. Me and Jack have actually argued about that on the air before. But I do think for it to be actual vigilantism or something that I could support, you have to be stopping a crime. It can't just be, I don't like that guy. Because that's not vigilantism, that's just murder. And if you do it, and if you remember that one guy who he pretended he was on a payphone and shot that pedophile as they walked past him in the courthouse?
Gary Plausch.
Thank you. That dude deserved to go to jail for what he did.
And he knew that. He accepted it.
Yep. It's like, I know I'm going to go to jail for this and I deserve to, but that guy deserved to be killed.
You could still be a hero and a criminal.
True story. I do think people who engage in vigilante justice should be brought to their own justice, because you can't have just random shit like that long term. I do get it sometimes, though, like in the case of somebody who's a pedophile. No, do not go out there and just start shooting pedophiles. But if somebody abuses your child and you do that, I totally understand. I'm not saying it's okay, but I 100% understand. But
well,
that's an entirely different argument than what happened with the CEO of United Health.
Yeah, very different scenarios. Mayor Adams created the problem in the subway by taking the cops out.
Mm-hmm.
If they hadn't removed the police from the subway system, crime would be way down in the subways like it was. And this scenario probably wouldn't have happened. There's a reason this asshole was arrested 42 times before Daniel Penny got to him.
We're not on the Daniel Penny case yet.
Oh, my bad.
No, you're fine. But in the Daniel Penny case, I mean, I don't even think Daniel Penny, I don't think that's vigilante justice. He was just holding that guy back. That was at best or at worst trying to protect people. Over on the Streamlabs, hang on, let this load. I gotta find my fucking cursor on my screen. I miss my eyesight, Jack. Thank you, Toasted. Sorry about the bad spelling. Don't worry about your bad spelling. The writing or the issue with me reading is not your spelling. I'm having trouble seeing things. If you can, please type in all caps. Anyway, sorry about the spelling. I was nervous. Don't be nervous. My point is that telling a company owner how to spend money is like slavery. Don't they understand that healthcare companies can't just accept everyone? Actually, they have to now. Even the government doesn't have enough money for that. They think they do. And a lot of people think that government healthcare is going to be the answer, and they have no idea how much more they're going to be turned down. That's just the truth. There should be laws to protect Good Samaritans like Penny. There really should be. I mean, we've seen instances of Good Samaritans getting sued by the people they helped.
Yep.
And
that's why I don't help people.
Yeah, you can't, because you don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah, you don't know what you're going to get accused of.
Yep.
You give someone the Heimlich maneuver, and next thing you know, she turns around and sues you for touching her boobie or something.
Yep. Speaking of, since we're on the Daniel Penny case, it was where we were going next anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I want to. Somebody sent me a picture of Alf with a cat in a sub bun. That's not cool.
Alf will eat at Subway.
It's a tiny little kitten. He's so cute.
He'd eat at Jersey Mike's.
Today, in a decision I really don't understand, I'm with a lot of people who are confused by this. Daniel Penny was found not guilty of, what was it? Not reckless endangerment. What was the charge that they busted?
Negligent homicide.
Was it? It was a
something like that.
I think that might have been it, where it carried a 4-year sentence compared to the 15 years he was facing.
Mm-hmm.
The jury deadlocked on Friday, and twice were told, "Hey, you guys gotta keep trying." And the prosecution did something rather dirty.
No.
Yeah, the Alvin Bragg prosecutor out there. So in New York City, if you're charged with 2 crimes like that, because he was charged with involuntary manslaughter or maybe just manslaughter, I forget. And then the other one was the negligent homicide. The bigger charge has to be determined by the jury. So, and if you never get past that charge, say you have a hung jury at that point, it is just a hung jury. They cannot even look at the next charge down on the list. And so what they did is remove that charge, which in itself already set it up so that if Daniel was found guilty, he had an excellent defense for appeal.
Yeah, he had grounds for appeal for a couple things they pulled.
But he ends up acquitted on this. And I don't understand how the jury got hung on the higher charge. And then in an hour, it only took them an hour on the lesser charge to say not guilty.
Well, I think the qualifications for the charges are different. So I think they looked at the case and the evidence, which they reviewed heavily for the first one. And they said, none of this applies to the lesser charge.
I hear you. I just feel like maybe somebody had a revelation this weekend.
Well, maybe they would have been a couple of them, because remember, New York City is incredibly lefty.
True.
So it was probably more than one person that was going for guilty.
Thank you so very much, Lever Action. That is very, very generous. Not much to say other than Taylor is a lying bitch and Merry Christmas. to you and Jack have to Jack. Thank you. Jack, say thank you. This is very, very generous.
Oh, who was it?
This was Lever Action.
Oh, thank you, Lever Action. Appreciate it, man.
And Lever Action, you should thank me because when I first saw your name, my eyesight being what it is, I thought it said lactation. And I was like, it can't be that. So I looked again. You're welcome.
Although Lactation Action would make a really good porno name.
Just
throwing that out there for you fetish people.
After the Daniel Penny verdict, some Black Lives Matter asshole gets up there and says what needs to happen is black people need to go do vigilante justice to honkies.
Yeah, he should be arrested for that.
He should, 100%, because that's absolutely gross.
You're inciting violence.
Yeah. But no, that's okay. And it's amazing to me how many news organizations are just fine with that guy saying it. But that's not who we want to concentrate on. We want to look at Mr. Neely's dad, Jack.
Oh, this piece of shit. Yeah. I haven't talked to my kid in 20 years, but I'm really upset by all this.
He had to be removed from the courtroom after the announcement of the verdict because he turned into such a douchebag.
Well, the not guilty verdict pretty much ruins his lawsuit.
It can. I mean, we saw what happened with OJ.
Yeah.
So he could still get paid based on his son dying.
I don't know. It's going to be a tough sell because if that victim's police record comes out, I mean, this was not some innocent person that had a mental breakdown. This is somebody that has a long criminal history.
I don't think that's even what would kill him. I think it's what we're going to talk about in a second. Let's listen to him real fast, though.
I just want to say I miss my son. My son didn't have to go through this. I didn't have to go through this either. It hurts. Really, really hurts. What are we going to do, people?
I'm going to get paid. This is a man who hadn't seen his son in years. This is a man who was estranged from his son. This is a man who, while his son is sleeping in the street, slept fine at night.
Isn't he the one that kicked his son out?
I think so, but I don't remember exactly. This is a man who had nothing to do with his son. His son could have died in a gutter and he wouldn't even have known.
Yep.
But suddenly he is just the best father ever. I am so he doesn't even sound distraught. He's doing the Jodie Foster. I'll whisper because that means I'm being dramatic. What are we gonna do, people? Get paid. More money. This is fucking nonsense.
Yeah.
There were a bunch of people at this little gathering. The guy who makes the threats to white people is this asshole here in the fat guy in all black.
Yeah, dude from BLM.
Yep, the BLM terrorist. There was another one who's like, white people keep letting white people get away. There were 4 black people on that jury. Just for the record. Those damn black honkies. No, fuck these people, man. Daniel Penny, we've seen the video, Jack, or at least I have. I'm assuming you've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
He did nothing wrong. And I when Piers Morgan was talking about it, we didn't watch that part of Piers's show, but he says clearly that he wouldn't have died if it wasn't for the 6-minute chokehold. Do you know what happens if you have an actual chokehold on somebody for 6 minutes? You're holding a dead guy for more than 5 minutes.
Yeah, the whole chokehold was only like 47 seconds or 52 or something like that.
Yeah, you can make somebody pass out in seconds and they die within a minute. So if you had a chokehold on, there's a difference between a chokehold and a neck restraint. They're two entirely different things. Way too many people have been watching wrestling for too long and think anything around the neck is a chokehold.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between a restraint and a chokehold. And if he had him in a chokehold, that motherfucker would have been dead within a minute. But no, he was for 6 minutes. It is another George Floyd case. The motherfucker was high as fuck. He had so much of the one drug in his system, the K2, and they couldn't even quantify it. The motherfucker was a lunatic, hopped up on drugs, who got overexcited in the situation and died because of it. Mm-hmm. If he wasn't on all those drugs, he would have lived. That's what killed him.
Hate fact.
But in this case, they did the right thing. They got the right verdict, and I'm glad they did, because America needs more good news.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, fuck this guy. I'm not glad he's dead.
I'm indifferent.
Me too. I wasn't the one being threatened by him, but when it comes to Daniel Penny, I don't think the man deserves to go to jail because he restrained a lunatic who was threatening everybody.
Yeah, I agree completely. This is very similar to the Bernie Getz thing. But yeah, this is actually a cleaner incident than the Bernie Getz thing.
Much cleaner than Bernie, yeah.
But
yeah.
Look, Daniel Penny did what most people were unwilling to do, and he stepped up and put himself in danger for other people. That's incredibly rare to begin with. The guy was still breathing when he let go of the hold, too, by the way. Even the prosecution's witness admitted that. So it's ridiculous.
This pin-headed motherfucker right here, this little beetle-looking bitch, is my pointer showing up on the screen? No, why is it doing that again?
I don't know. Anyway, I told you that happens.
I know. That's why I looked over at the screen, because I try to do that now when I say that. The one in the gray suit in the front.
Oh, yeah.
He came out in his statement. He starts out by saying, Neely, when he got on the train, the first thing he did was ask for food. And I love how he says it, because he makes it sound like the guy showed up at McDonald's and ordered a value meal. He's on a subway train. That ain't the place to be asking for food.
No. I mean, what, did he think that people just had cheeseburgers in their pockets?
I got these cheeseburgers. Stubber, thank you. Kyle Rittenhouse congratulated him on Twitter. That was funny.
That is kind of funny.
That is funny. But yeah, to me, that is not how you want to defend this guy. Like, hey, look, when he got on the subway, he started asking strangers for their food. Because, that's really not what the subway's for. And he just kind of skips over the rest, because he goes from that to, and he died, and that shouldn't have happened. So he actually makes it sound like Neely gets on the train and goes, hey, you got a cheeseburger I can have? And Penny's like, kill him. Just not even close to what happened.
Well, okay. I heard, who was it? I think Jesse Kelly talking about this earlier. And I kind of agree with him. There has to be a level of chaos for communists to seize power.
True.
And when they do that, like Lenin let all the criminals out, like the hardcore criminals. He let them out. And basically did exactly what Alvin Bragg did here. You go after anybody that wants to stand in the way and try and stop them. That way, you're totally reliant on the government, who you're going to beg and plead to come in and do something to stop it. Just like importing, let's say, a bunch of Venezuelan gangs.
This goes to what I was talking about with the healthcare industry earlier. The healthcare industry is where it is right now because of Obamacare.
Yeah.
And it is in chaos to the point where people are cheering a man being murdered in the street in broad daylight.
Yeah.
Because what they really want is single payer healthcare.
Yeah. And you get that by people being so desperate. They turn to the government, which they don't really understand. And they say, we need you to do something. Please fix this. We are desperate. And then the government will be like, oh, heavens to Betsy. We were unaware of this problem. Let us try and fix it. And then you're dependent on the government for every aspect of your life.
Yep. So
and they did a lot of this in the Soviet Union. All these exact same things.
Didn't Reagan close the asylums? I don't know who closed the asylums. I'm pretty sure it was under his watch, but
they were shut down under his watch, but the lawsuits that got all that started happened under Carter, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and it was one of those things where they threw the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah.
There were some asylums that were horrible.
Yeah. Documentaries like Willowbrook by Geraldo Rivera, they showed the worst of the worst.
Yep.
And then everybody thought all mental asylums were run that way, and that's just not true. One thing you have to do with mental health is you have to actually have it funded, and those funds have to be spent properly. The administrators should not be making $1 million while the people that work in the place are running out of supplies. That's not how it's supposed to work. So the money has to be managed well, and oversight has to be done. There's a lot more systems in place now than there used to be for oversight. The problem is they never reopen the asylums.
Rotten Corp said, I've already dealt with government health care. I'll pass on having it again. Look, when Obamacare is pushed through, it wasn't poor people who needed the coverage. And despite what they said about it being about people with pre-existing conditions, that wasn't what it was about either. It was about forcing 40 million people who made the choice not to get health insurance because they were young and healthy onto the system to give that money to the insurance companies to basically pay for all of the stuff government was telling them they had to cover.
Yeah.
Again,
they still don't do shit for people.
Again, the government told gay men they had to have maternity coverage. That's a real thing. And that's who you want to fix the system. Are you out of your fucking mind? And we can have the fallback systems. I don't have a problem with Medicaid, Jack. I understand there's poor people.
Yeah, and look, it's okay to give a hand up. Shouldn't be a handout. I don't have a problem helping people that are in dire straits, especially with like cataclysmic life events.
Yeah.
You know, you suddenly get life-altering disease or you get in an accident or something. That can wipe you out. So I don't have a problem helping those people. Some people need help, but there has to be limits on who can qualify. Just because you wandered over an imaginary boundary over where the Rio Grande is shallow, you're not entitled to all the free shit America has to offer. But yeah, look, welfare moms, I'd end right away. Fuck you.
Oh, yeah, it wiped me out. Ooh. I'm okay with having our safety nets. And we had them. And you know what happened? People got turned down for stuff on those all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, people, honest, hardworking people get turned down because the system is so horribly managed.
Yeah.
And you can lose everything. When I got sick with my lung infection, it collapsed one of my lungs. I burned through all of my life savings, and I was selling things off because it's hard to survive when you have no income and you can't work.
And I think most people would be on board with a catastrophic thing, having help for that.
Yeah. Yeah, because everybody knows somebody that's life has been screwed by these companies, or the fact that you know, something tragic happened.
The problems that we're seeing now, or that they're trying to pretend are happening now, because a lot of it is made up, just for the record, guys. We didn't have those problems, and insurance was much, much cheaper before Obamacare. All poor people were covered. All old people were covered. It wasn't for them. Stop letting them lie to you.
Yeah. One of the things they need to do is allow for interstate insurance competition. Because as it is, if the insurance company isn't in your state, they can't. The prices are effectively fixed.
The problem with that, and I understand what you're saying, though, but the problem is that the states get to decide what has to be covered and what their insurance regulations are. So in order to go cross-state, you would have to, in some cases, your policy would end up being entirely meaningless.
I think they could figure that out. If they would allow people to, because look, everybody likes money. And if there's money to be made by a new market opening up, they will find a way to make it work.
Yeah, but then you have to decide which state you're going to go with, right? Because I do not want my coverage decided by California. Frankly, I don't want it decided by Michigan.
Coverage. You just have to change your last name to Mao.
It's not. I get what you're saying, and that was a big talking point back during the Obamacare discussions. Was cross state line insurance. But again, the reason they don't do that is state law. The state laws are so vastly different that you can't. And the only way to get around that is for it to all be federal. And I'm really not okay with that.
Yeah, I'm not really on board with that either. Real quick, thank you, Evolved Potato. The government creates a problem so they can convince people to give them more power to solve the problem they created. Yep. Absolutely. That's true of any government because government's job is to make government get bigger and live longer.
Start with forcing the med industry to publish their prices up front. I'd be for that.
Yeah, there should be some ability to negotiate the prices too.
I live in
what they charge you for stuff is obscene at hospitals.
I live in a state where it was only a decade ago that there was mandatory pricing in stores.
Yeah.
Everything had to have a clear price on it. And if not, the store could get in a lot of trouble. And if you had something mispriced, there was even what they called a bounty system.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say you went to buy a towel at Walmart and the towel had a price on it that said $5 and you were charged $7 for it. Not only would you get the $2 back, but you would get up to $2 at 10% of the difference, up to $2 back. And so you had people who would come in the store. They were bounty hunters. It's all they did is wander the store looking for something mispriced.
Yep.
And I almost got myself in trouble one day by accusing one of them of using the pricing gun that was right next to the place where they found something cheap.
Yeah.
Caught myself, saved myself from getting a complaint.
Yeah. Sometimes the complaints are worth it.
You know what bounty hunters I never saw in the store again?
That one.
Those ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a family and they were notorious for being in our store doing that. Or never. I don't want to say that we've ever caught them doing it, but they were constantly bounty hunting.
We had a family of Mexican migrants that would come in and steal deodorant and light bulbs.
I do not believe you that Mexican migrants were stealing deodorant.
Well, I didn't say they were using it. I said they were stealing it. They'd duct tape the bottom of their sweatpants and then just start dropping them down their sweats.
Oh, yeah. We had a woman who did that with meat.
Yeah. Yeah. It's harder to get away with lumpy items.
Yeah.
So you're better off with like socks or something like that. But people are dumb. Most criminals aren't geniuses. So
my favorite woman we ever busted, she was a college kid. She was like 19 and she was stealing makeup. Our guy who did security, he got in trouble with the company because he mostly caught females stealing.
As I'm not a pervert, I am working.
They said he was targeting women by hanging out in the makeup and jewelry area. And like, are the people that he's getting stealing? Because that's what's important to me.
Makeup and jewelry are two of the biggest departments hit.
Yeah. But this chick, the first thing she starts doing, I will tell you everybody I know who steals because they all told me we can do it.
That's awesome. Most people that stole makeup from our store were cross-dressers.
Oh, no. These were all women, smaller town.
Yeah.
Every time she came in the store after that, She's like, I'm not stealing, I promise. She'd find me to tell me she wasn't stealing.
Which would make me think she is stealing, but
no, she was so scared, dude. So scared.
Nice.
Yeah.
Real quick, thank you, Travis Gardner. There's one problem with everything that is subsidized. There's no price signaling. If you cannot figure out prices easily, the prices are always going to be much higher. Absolutely. Obfuscation leads to corruption.
That's where I was going with this before we got up on Walmart, is that we had to where there's a bounty system on deodorant, but the doctors don't have to tell you in advance how much something's going to cost. Really? Of the two, I'm not going to get, I'm not breaking the bank on deodorant.
Yeah.
You can ruin a whole life on medical costs.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
All right. What else do I have today? There was one other that I know I wanted to watch. I don't remember what it was. I hate when I do that, Jack. So now I got to scroll through this and pretend I have something interesting to say while I'm doing it. We can go ahead and look at this Bernie Sanders thing. I missed this when he first posted it. He posted this back in November. But it's worth talking about. Billionaires in the U.S. are 0.0005% of the population, yet account for 18% of 2024's electoral spending. Just 150 billionaire families spent nearly $2 billion. This is not democracy. It's oligarchy. Time to overturn Citizens United and move to public funding of elections. This is not the election to make that argument, and I'm going to tell you why. Because the campaign that spent $1 billion+ lost. This is why I always tell you guys, money in politics isn't the issue. It's not, because you can't just buy an election. You might have been able to in Kennedy's day, but you can't do that these days. But this is another one of those things where the government's going to come save you, Jack. Those billionaires. Hey, Jack, did you vote for Trump because of what a billionaire said?
No.
I did. But it was because of Trump.
Oh, yeah, that billionaire. I thought you meant the other one.
But no other billionaire. I didn't vote for him because of Elon. I didn't vote for him because of Peter Thiel. I don't care what those guys have to say about him.
No, they're just other supporters. Look, I voted for Trump because I think his policies were way more effective and less damaging to the country. And I think Kamala Harris is a dangerous retard that would get us in a war, like a massive war.
Travis Gardner, thank you. The bounty hunting, I remember it growing up. My dad pulled that shit. He would argue with every price he went to, every place he went to. If something was wrong, it would become a federal case. He is much better now about it being dead. Oh my. Yeah, I guess I would change it.
Being dead does tend to hamper your ability to argue with people. But in Ohio, we have a law that I think it's still on the books that if there's a discrepancy, you don't get the bounty, you get it for the cheaper price.
And I have no problem with giving it to people for the cheaper price. But this one lady that I will never forget, because in that system, in the bounty system, Jack, you only get the bounty on one item. So if you can have it on multiple items, like say you have deodorant and the towel I talked about earlier. You could get a bounty on each of those, but you could only get it for one of each of those items. So like if you bought 10 of those towels, you don't get the bounty on every one of them. You only get the money back that you were overcharged. And I had this lady come in who was like, no. And the reason I used towels is because towels was this woman's thing. She had bought like 90 towels. I forget how many it was. It was a ton of towels. And they were priced wrong. It was like $1 off or something like that. And she comes up to the service desk to get her bounty, and I give it to her on one of the items. And it wasn't even me; it was my cashier who did it. I was in charge at the time. And I go up there, and she's like, "I get this on all." I'm like, "No, you don't. I can pull up the law if you'd like. And she goes, I work for a state senator. I know the law.
I am the law.
I was like, all right, bring it up. She goes, I can call him. I'm like, go ahead and call him. Let's have that discussion because you're wrong.
Do it, bitch.
Trust me, they make sure I know this law. Yeah, we had a great conversation and she ended up storming off with all of her towels. It made me laugh. I couldn't help it. We had another lady who tried doing it and she bought a whole bunch of shit and she got her bounty on some of it. And then she tried returning all of the stuff and getting the full price back.
Oh, fuck that. No.
And then she got mad when I gave her back the price she actually paid. She's like, you have to give me full price. I'm like, no, I got to give you what you paid.
Yeah, you didn't pay full price, bitch. Nice try, scammer.
She was so bad, we eventually got to the point we wouldn't take her stuff back.
Yeah, we took way too much crap back that wasn't even from our store. We'd get stuff from like Kmart. I'm like, Kmart's going out of business. We can't take their shit. We're going to lose a bunch of money.
One of my friends that I ate lunch with, her daughter worked at Lowe's. And somebody came to her and said, I need to return this lawnmower. And she goes, it's past our return date. You can't do that. And the guy said, what do I do? And she said, take it to Walmart. And sure enough, we took that back. It's not even a brand we sold. But yeah, Walmart used to be like that, where you could just return anything and we had to take it. All right. Oh, that's what I want to talk about. I know this is one of the ones. I kind of liked Eric Adams during his campaign. Not everything he said, but especially for a New York politician, I didn't hate the guy.
Yeah.
And he seems to be coming back around to the rhetoric that he spoke about in his campaign more than, he gets in place and turns into just a full-on lefty.
Yeah, I think he started to realize there's consequences if he wants to remain mayor.
Thank you, Spud Gun. I didn't vote for Trump. I would have, though, just for the lulz. He makes me laugh. It pisses off all the right people. I got my $5 worth. Thank you so much. Thank you. I mostly voted for Trump because of the lawfare against him and him, being like, we're going to end that shit.
Yeah.
Because that can't happen. It can't happen. And this is kind of relevant to that, Jack.
Yeah.
And now I'm hearing others are saying that Biden should pardon people because this would be difficult on their families and difficult on them, and they would have to pay high legal fees. But what about me? What about those mothers who are placed on FBI watch lists because they were standing up for their children?
Well, you said the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had to be a victim of the backstabbing that goes on with the lefties before he started to really wake up.
Yep.
You think that the justice system has been politicized. You believe that, don't you?
Yes, I do, with all my heart.
How could you not believe that?
Yeah.
I mean, they don't mess with Adams until after he comes out against the just rampant illegals. Mm-hmm. And that's when they're like, we need to target this guy. Even if what he is accused of is something he did, they turned a blind eye to it until the politics got in the way.
Yep.
But not only do I believe it, the president stated it.
For the record, Biden, without directly saying that the FBI is corrupt, said it in the reasoning for his pardon for Hunter.
Yeah.
So even Joe was like, yes, it's completely corrupt.
Donald Trump stated it, and countless others. You should look at some of these stories, what happened to people that stand up because of what they believe in. I believed in this city. We were going in the wrong direction with the migrants and asylum seekers. And I was very clear about that after 10 trips to Washington, D.C. I know what this crisis has done to our city long term. And New Yorkers are going to see the byproduct of $6.4 billion removed from our coffers.
So given...
And he kind of alludes to it there, but that is when they decided to come after him. This is a guy who was for a sanctuary city, and then he saw what that actually does. And unlike most politicians, he's like, maybe we need to reverse course here.
Yeah, well, no one wants to return to the bad old days of New York. That shit's legendary, man.
Yeah. And that is when they went after. Again, I don't know if he's done what he's been accused of or not. And maybe he did, and maybe he's as corrupt as they say. But they were fine with it until he stood up and went, we need to do something about this migrant crisis.
Yep.
The fact that you think it's been politicized, there's some people who think that President Trump might move to pardon some of the people who were involved in the January 6th attack on the Capitol. Do you think that's something he should do because it's been politicized, or he should not do?
That's a dumbass question because it has nothing to do with the Justice Department.
Yeah, well, he's being interviewed by Dame Edna there. So.
Sure. God, I honestly thought that was a dude, and I'm not sure if it is or not.
I don't know. What was the name of that hideous puppet? Was that Madam?
Yes. Yes, I know what you're talking about. God, I haven't thought of that in years.
You're welcome. That'll haunt you tonight.
Didn't that thing used to pop up on Hollywood Squares?
Yes.
Yeah.
Pop up right. There was Madam had a talk show for a while, as I recall.
Yes.
You should not do.
I think that's the determination of the president. I believe it's imperative that we seek justice in our country.
See what I mean? I kind of like Adam sometimes because everything he said here made sense.
Yeah, well, even Fetter Monsters made sense occasionally. So, and that dude had a stroke and could barely talk. He's still kind of tarded.
He is very still tarded. There's a lot of people who have latched on to Fetterman. I'm like, he's still a retard, y'all.
Yeah, but he does have some decent opinions occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nice to be able to find somebody that you can have common ground with, and that it's from the other team. That's not completely fucking insane.
And I do like it. Does suck that he had to go through it for him to get it, but I do like that it shows that he can learn. You're like, you know what? That sounded good on paper until we tried it. Maybe that's not the way we should be going.
No, like socialism.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna watch this just because it's funny. I don't know how this turned out. This is from yesterday, and Rosie said she would come out and let us know the results today, and I didn't look at it because I don't care. But I do find this funny enough to highlight on the show, Jack.
Well, hey, everybody, it's Friday all day, as my Nana would say. And look what I have on my lip. Everybody's been saying, you have herpes all this time, and I never had a cold sore in my life.
I would be asking your girlfriend. It's hard to see because of the lighting and everything, but yeah, she's got some shit on her lip here.
And now I have a cold sore. And it makes me think that perhaps this weird pimple that had a tiny little head was a cold sore too.
On your nose?
Where have you been putting that? I'm just saying.
To my doctor today, and I did a video telehealth, and they said that it's not a cold sore, it's some reaction to the sun. Now, I did sit in the sun yesterday, but I had sunscreen on. So I don't know. I will let you know tomorrow if I do, in fact, have herpes, as some of the taunting from the MAGA people in the last couple of weeks. Hasn't it been fun, ladies and gentlemen, to be standing in direct opposition to everything he is and represents?
So MAGA people have been telling you have herpes for a couple of weeks, but you sat in the sun yesterday, so maybe that's it?
Yeah, it just might be skin cancer. Who knows? How does she know they're all MAGA people and not just like regular internet trolls that want to fuck with some stupid old lady?
With herpes.
Allegedly.
One, when we talk about herpes, the lip one, nobody gives a shit. Just don't kiss somebody that's got it on their face. The one people give you shit for that you should care about is, genital herpes, and hopefully nobody's seen your genital herpes, lady.
Gross.
But I do love that she made an appointment with her doctor because trolls were telling her she had herpes.
I wonder how much of that they could do before she figures out people are fucking with her. Like, you should go to the doctor and get that one gray hair in the center of your head checked out.
Right?
That might be hair cancer.
There is a lot of fun that could be had here. Kind of like I was gonna have with my gang stalker chick. Oh, I never explained gang stalking to people who didn't know what it was. I meant to do that, and I got distracted when you came on.
I'm good at that.
So let's talk about gang stalking, because it's funny to me, and somebody who believes in gang stalking called me a Russian asset today. So, for those of you who don't know what gang stalking is, it's a concept that I was introduced to by my good friend Jack the motherfucking Cochran. You might know him as the stick figure on your screen right now.
Yeah, that guy's awesome.
He really is, and I will eternally be grateful to him for introducing me to gang stalking.
Yeah, I don't know why anybody would ever thank me for that, but oh my god,
because it's
I
hilarious.
know a couple people that actually believe it, and they all have a severe psychological illness.
Well, as I did explain earlier, people who believe in gang stalking, it is a delusion. It is a psychological issue. And what these people believe is that they are constantly under surveillance. And they see patterns that you and I would miss, Jack, because we just don't get it. Like, I was watching a video about gang stalking today, put out by Vice. And it's weird watching the video because they do have a guy on there that's kind of explaining its delusion, but for the most part, it seems like they're presenting it like gang stalking is real.
Oh yeah, there's books written about this. Like, are you a targeted individual? That's the technical term that you like to use, is targeted individual.
You're a targeted individual, and there's ways you can tell, because these people who are trying to covertly watch you have been so bad at it that books are written with the warning signs.
Yeah, like they actually have really obvious telegraphing signs.
Pirate says, you mean like from the CIA, NSA, and FBI? Yes and no. Some of them think it's government, and some of them just think it's shadow organizations. Some of them believe it's lizard people.
Well, I mean, lizard people would be the more like if there's a group of people following you around, you don't want it to be the lame ass FBI. I mean, boo, who cares? It's so ordinary. Look at all the January 6ers that got arrested. You're not unique enough. You need it to be something grandiose.
In the case of the chick that I was interacting with today, she believes it's Satanists. It's just Satanists who are gang stalking her. But to the Vice video, this guy, he's telling this story how he knows. He says, because the families I see on the street, they just seem fake. And that was his explanation, Jack. They just seem fake. Like, could you be a little more specific? How fake are we talking here? Like, androids?
No, they're all in on it. They're all FBI agents. Even that little kid, that's really a midget dressed up. That's Peter Dinklage.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's they've got a whole system down. It's like red cars are run by the stalkers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's always red cars. If a guy's in a red shirt and he has one arm down and his other arm across his chest so that the hand is gripping the bicep of the other arm, you know how normal people stand? That is the sign of a handler.
Yes.
There is a real good rabbit hole to go down with this stuff. I'm dropping a link to the Medicare video on it. It's very concise. You can find way more in-depth shit on this, but it's a whole fucking universe of crazy. And you can really have some fun watching their videos because they think like the mailman is spying on them, and following them. Good times.
Eagle says, wow, I'm very confused. It jumped down the rabbit hole for a little bit. It's kind of funny. Somebody just brought up Wendigoon. I was going to bring that up myself. Wendigoon just did a video on sovereign citizens that goes back to the start of the sovereign citizen movement, Jack.
Yeah.
It's a very good video. I don't know if he knows about the Gangstalking one. I'd love to see a Wendigoon video on Gangstalking.
Honestly, I liked his video on sovereign citizens, but I think the Medicare series was funnier.
Yeah,
Wendigoon's mustache just was killing me, man.
He needs to just grow the beard back.
Yes. Get the fucking beard. Stop being a weirdo.
He even makes a mention about his weird mustache in that video. Wendigoon is not all that funny. He has moments where Jim is definitely a funnier person, but he gives. I like the in-depthness that he goes to in his videos. But as for the Gangstalking, folks, I had a mini crisis of conscience, Jack.
Oh no!
Because I'm like, I really want to fuck with this woman.
Well, I mean, that's a given.
And I was like, but this is a mental illness.
Yeah, you say that, but as your enabler, I think it's okay.
Well, for the record, I do have a tweet that just says red 4-door. Because I know they're watching my tweets now.
Yeah.
So I did go with, this is funny, so I'm going to do it. And they came at me first, so fuck them.
Well, they started it. I mean, as a targeted individual, why are you drawing attention to yourself? And also, why are you a target? It's almost always really poor, crazy people. Like, what in the universe makes you think that you are so special that the government has any interest in you whatsoever? That is fucking dumb. Lizard people, however, that would make sense. They want to test your psyche, see if you can handle it. Especially if you're actually a medium. Can you channel the spirits?
I do know this lady's kind of, because she was trying to turn in some environmental group, and she's an actual environmentalist, and she was bucking the system, so they came after her. Yeah. I also just started tweeting random nonsense. One of the things I said to her is that red is blue, blue is the third, and I just left it at that. Because I think shit like that is funny.
Well, yeah, that's a given.
Don't come at me with your mental illness, because I'm gonna fuck with you about it. It's not my fault. I also just typed to her, "We see you." At which point she shared a tweet that she's very proud that she wrote before about people standing in her garden. Thank you, JB. Plot twist: Monk and Jack are gang stalkers. LOL. We are.
Yeah, I have so much free time for that shit.
I have a
complete waste of time.
We all know what red means. Okay, what else do I have today?
While you're doing that, thank you, Evolved Potato. All these crazy people thinking governments or secret organizations would follow them, but they just ignore the real threat of the cloud people. They're always watching. You just have to look up. That's what that Don't Look Up movie was actually about. Yeah, the cloud people throwing rocks down at us. Fucking cloud people.
I'm only bringing this one up because somebody said to me, "You're proud of that, aren't you?" in my response to this. And yes, I am. It says, U.S. government spent $2 million to study why lesbians are fat. And I replied, they do eat out more than most women.
You should be proud of that. That's funny.
I am very proud of that. Why wouldn't I be? That's funny.
I don't know.
Yes, I am proud of myself. What else do we have? I see you have some stuff, and rather than me dig through things that I might care about, and I do say that, meaning like I probably don't, just for the record.
Well, to be fair, you're probably going to hate most of it, and it's fairly short.
So. Oh, no, I wasn't. When I said about things I don't care about, I mean my timeline, not what you said.
I know, but
okay.
I won't wander too far from your timeline because a lot of stuff you're going to hate.
We're almost 2 hours into the show anyway. We're going to be wrapping up soon. California Attorney General wants holiday shoppers to report stores lacking gender neutral toy options. I saw this story the other day because this broke like what 4 or 5 days ago.
Yeah,
and I'm glad you brought it up because it's one we should talk about. Because California has a law that you have to have gender neutral toy aisles.
Yeah.
And their shitbag of a governor came out and told people, hey, if you see some that don't have the gender neutral thing, turn them in.
Yeah, I want to thank P-Dog for sending this to me because he sent it to me on like the 4th. We just didn't get to it.
I saw it going around that day. Nobody sent it to me because people were rightfully talking about this. This is fucking insane.
Yeah, California is full of dummy tards.
What if a little trans girl wants to go into the girl toy aisle? What are they going to do?
Make her walk down the middle.
California Attorney General is reminding shoppers. The one I saw said Gavin Newsom was doing it. So let's just say the California government is reminding shoppers in the state that they can and should report on retailers this holiday season who fail to display a reasonable number of gender neutral toys and children's products in their aisles. Well, you guys tell me there's no such thing as gendered toys, so they're all non-gendered toys.
Yeah, they're just putting certain items next to similar items.
You know who does realize that toys are gendered? Kids.
Children. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, when I was a kid, we avoided that pink aisle like the fucking plague. You didn't want to get caught down there.
There were stores, Target was one of them, who decided, no, we're going to go with the gender neutral toy thing. And they mixed all of their toys up. You know what they had to do? Separate them again.
Yes, parents complained and so did the kids. Sales probably tanked.
Sales tanked because a little girl looking for a Barbie couldn't find the fucker because there's no girl aisle anymore.
Yeah.
This is like, hey, you can't have a baking aisle. You just have to have a general goods aisle. And somebody goes to look for a cake mix and can't find the fucking thing.
Yeah. Look, there have been decades of research put into this, into how people shop. There's actual research on that because stores, shockingly, want to make money and they want to sell the goods. The people that make the goods want to get them in your hands so they can make money. It's almost like there needs to be some sort of research involved to make that more efficient.
Dangerous, thank you. To be fair, Monk, lesbians eat nothing but fish. That's supposed to be slimming. One of my favorite videos I ever did was on that fat vegan who said that they needed to get intersectional. If they helped women and black people get their rights, then they'll stand up for us when it's our turn.
Did you see that picture Sugar Tits put out of the cyclist wearing a vegan spandex?
I did not. I'll have to check it out.
I retweeted it, so it should be pretty easy to find. It's going to be on your timeline a few times. Also, thank you, Travis Gardner, who sent me a link to a Kyle Mann X post, whatever we call those now. It's a picture of Daniel Penny being acquitted, and it says, this dangerous verdict is only going to inspire copycat heroes.
Oh, the horror.
Yeah, well, Kyle Mann's one of the guys from Babylon B. He's the editor.
Oh my. All right, yeah. That I can't even see the guy's face, and that makes him look gay. Your vegan cyclist guy. All right. Where are we?
Right?
Governor Newsom signed the bill mandating the gender neutral retail sections at the end of the 2021 legislative session, when he says the California legislature took unprecedented steps to recover from the pandemic and address historic inequalities. It's an inequality to have girl and boy toy aisles.
It's historic, monkey. Historic.
Here's the thing. Sometimes there is some crossover, right? Like maybe a boy likes playing with Barbies and maybe a girl likes playing with Matchbox. even in that instance, they would know where to go. They'd be like, the little boy who likes Barbie would be like, we need to go to the girl aisle so I can get a Barbie.
No, we need to completely confuse children. It's the only way we can build the future.
The state attorney general, Rob Bonta, clearly disagrees and wants shoppers to stick to the plain text of the law, which includes snitching on the stores. I skipped one where somebody called it an overreach. It is an overreach. They should not be telling stores how they have to display their products. Go get fucked.
And you know what they say about snitches?
Yeah. They're good people.
They get rewarded by the state for being rats. Dirty, dirty rats.
Oh, dear Christ. A Medium article.
What? What? A Medium article? What? However would we have obtained that? Thank you, Frosted.
There's no such thing as a leftist echo chamber. Oh, look, somebody's trying to get hate clicks. Protecting marginalized speech is not censorship. Wait. What marginalized speech are you protecting?
Not Whitey. I mean, what? Huh?
Racism would be the marginalized speech these days. I'm not wrong on that, am I?
No.
Racism, sexism, that's the marginalized stuff. That's the stuff that's pushed to the edge of society and not allowed.
No, it's clearly people of color and the indigenous two-spirit people whose land you stole, colonizer.
After the election, X, formerly Twitter, experienced a mass exodus. Well, yeah, because a whole bunch of lefties were like, we can't stand free speech. Something about the Elon-endorsed candidate winning the presidency was enough to get liberal-minded people to leave the platform. Him taking over was enough to get the left to leave the platform. They came back and left again. What are you talking about? They could wake up and stub their toe and be like, I'm leaving X. This is Elon's fault. They're not exactly sane people, Jack. And let's be honest, even if Elon hadn't have come out and endorsed Trump, if Trump wins, they were all leaving X anyway.
Yeah. Well, they're a bunch of babies. I guess Elon was cracking down on the CP. So they're like, oh, we're out of this bigoted place.
These are people who are like, if Trump wins, I'm leaving the country. And I'm supposed to be moved that they left Twitter? Fuck off. Where are we?
Cares.
Which had become increasingly more right-wing after Musk took over in 2022. It became more right-wing because so many lefties left the platform in 2022. Unlike what happened to conservatives who were kicked off the platform, nobody kicked these people off. They decided to separate themselves.
No, they
Go ahead,
fled.
Jack, I'm sorry.
Sorry. I think we picked up a bit of a lag. They left on their own accord, and Musk allowed the Republican conservative types to actually talk instead of shadow banning them and muting them or kicking them off the platform.
Though it is not the only alternative, Blue Sky has become a popular destination for the fleeing liberals. I'm actually wondering if one day Elon won't sue them, because Blue Sky is, how do I put this, strikingly similar to the setup of Twitter. And
I'd
those
be curious
things,
if they hired any former employees.
right? Those things are, I mean, there are copyrights and trademarks and stuff involved in all of that, and patents.
Yeah.
So, where are we? Blue Sky has become a popular destination for the fleeing liberals, leading to at least one opinion article columnist to worry that it'll become an echo chamber. It is an echo chamber. It won't. Oh yeah, go over there and say something that's not with the group and see what happens. Go ahead, I dare you.
Right.
How can I be sure? Because leftists who endorse social justice don't have echo chambers. Steve Shives would like to have a conversation with you, sir.
But you'd be blocked.
Diversity of opinion doesn't require hate speech. Well, hate speech isn't a real thing, so that's just true on the face of it. When I log into Blue Sky, I see a wealth of content from people who aren't me. I see the perspective of trans women and sex workers, neurodivergent. I can barely read as it is, and I'm not going to use my reading to further entertain this retard. If you use the term neurodivergent, I cannot take you serious. Sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, to his point, I mean, fuck right off with that. There's no echo chamber. We only allow you to say what we let you say, and that is not an echo chamber. Sure thing, Sparky. Sure thing. Okay. Wait, is this the chick I think it is? Is this the Disney chick? She looks familiar. All right. Now you guys can see her too.
To accept, press 1. Thank you for calling eBay customer service. This is Wendy.
Thank you for calling eBay customer service. For English, press 1. This call may be monitored and recorded for quality assurance. To confirm your purchase of 9 cards at $200, press 55.
What are you watching? Is she just fucking with the... What is she doing here?
She's messing with a telemarketer. She's a voice actress, so she's messing with them.
Your confirmation number is 40846554. To confirm, please press 2. Please collect your payment at the nearest Budweiser factory.
Bullshit.
Wow. How did they not catch on? Is this it's got to be out of country?
Oh, it's a foreigner, yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta be.
That was way too obvious. She does a very good job at the sound of that fucking voice you get every time you call one of these things. You know where I hear that voice the most? When I used to have to call AT&T because they'd fuck something up.
Yeah.
That's
that robot voice. She's really good at.
She does look like the conservative Disney chick, though. That's who I thought it was when I first saw her picture on the screen.
That's just cute, though.
She is cute. Yeah. All right.
I'd want her to do that voice during sex.
Harder, daddy.
Exactly.
Wait. This one has singing in it. I don't know if I can show it.
Don't worry. It's not. It's just as good. Just trust me. The girl's singing, and it's not for long. So.
That is an adorable kitty. This is another one where she should never be the main focus again. It should always be your kitty cat.
Yeah, that cat's awesome. I mean, look at him. He's happy to be a little performer.
And then he was done. He's just like, all right, I've said what I need to say. I am gone.
Yeah, he was probably revealing some like client list from Epstein or something, but we just don't understand cat. So whatever secrets he revealed there are still secrets.
He this is the kind of video, watch, we're gonna get hit for that one, because it's the kind of video that those dirty companies have started picking up. Have you seen those? They tell these people like, hey, your video blew up and we'll help you monetize it, and then they'll hit anybody who uses it. That's okay. The kitty cat was worth it.
Yeah, sorry.
No.
I thought it was worth it because of the cat.
Yeah. Kitty cat's worth it, and if they want the $3 we make from this, cool. I'm all right with that.
$3? Are you generous?
Because that kitty was adorable. I actually like when he first comes in and he's off to the side.
Yeah. He's just looking up like, what's happening?
When he centers himself, it's still cute. But this one right here, that's where it's like, that's adorable.
Yeah.
And she was getting annoyed at first, and then he started meowing, and she gets into it. Just let cats be cats. Don't get annoyed at them. How dare you, lady?
I don't know. This cat that my parents have now, he every time I pick up my phone, she jumps on me and starts like walking back and forth across my legs, so that her tail is smacking the phone.
Mm.
And I happen that the chair I sit in happens to be near the treats. And
okay.
Catnip flavored treats. So, but if I have my laptop or my phone, that's when she jumps up. Otherwise, not very often.
Phoebe today decided I couldn't be in the kitchen with Lady Monkey.
Oh.
I was rubbing Lady Monkey's back. She really hates when I rub Lady Monkey's back. She's like, why are you petting her instead of me?
Yeah, you're petting a different cat, you monster.
But she comes in and pushes against me and walks out, and that is my sign to follow her. And so I did, and then I went back into the kitchen, and she immediately came back in and did it again. And it was funny because my old cat's Patches, I love that kitty cat. He did not like Lady Monkey touching me.
Huh.
And we even tested this to make sure it wasn't just like coincidence or anything, but if me and her would hug, he would come up and lean against her legs to push her away. If we were too close and like sitting at the table or something, he would come and put himself in between us. He would sleep so that he would block her from my view. He did not like her. He didn't hate her. He just did not like her getting my attention.
Well, that he understands that women are just after your resources.
Indeed, and as a cat, they belong to him.
Yes, those are resources that could be directed to him and his tummy. So, she's just stealing the food that could rightfully belong to him.
Thank you, Cryptic. My cat is on my last straw. He's about to be made into cat foo young. Be nice to your kitty cat. Anyway, we're going to wrap up there, ladies and gentlemen, on cute kitties and cute kitty stories. Anything you want to add before we take off, Jack?
Nope. Nothing good going on.
That medium story, I forgot to drop that into chat. It's the only one we skipped most of. I want to make sure that gets into chat for folks. Why is it not showing up for me? There it is. I just, it's hard enough for me to read, Jack, and I'm not wasting what little I can do on a moron. Motherfucker said neurodivergent. Neurodivergent is not a real thing. That is some Tumblr shit that got made up. That's literally where it comes from. It's not a medical term. For all these people who get pissed off about misuse of medical terms when it comes like trans people and stuff, they don't mind making shit up and pretending it's a real thing, which is weird if you think about it. But that is going to wrap this one up, guys. Thank you so much for the donations and just coming and hanging out with us. You guys are awesome, and we really, really appreciate it. Jack, anything you want to show?
No, I haven't done anything. I haven't had time with everything going on. So sorry guys, I'll get some content out eventually, but go check out Dark Sayings channel. And thank you guys so much for all the support you give us, all the donations. You guys are awesome. And don't forget to watch the Medicare videos as Internet Insanity on Gangstalking and the Sovereign Citizens Movement. It's funny stuff.
Yep, and check out Wendigo's on the Sovereign Citizens as well. It's a well-done video that goes much deeper into the history.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that is actual documentary stuff.
Yeah, because the Jim ones laugh at the videos and stuff that Wendigoon often mentions in his video. So I do recommend both for different reasons. Of course, Jim's just being funny as shit.
Yeah.
With that, we're wrapping up. Thank you, guys. I already did that. Thank you, Jack. That's what I meant to say. A pleasure as always, my friend.
Oh, yeah. I'm always glad to be here, dude.
Guys, take care of yourselves. I love you, and we'll see you next time. Bye now.
Bye, everybody.
Yes, the show was earlier today. It's when it's supposed to happen anyway. I don't mean to be the one to tell you, but you're probably gay. You are.